All right, I think we are live. Hi, everyone, and welcome. Welcome. Today, I have in the studio with me Darrell Devaul. And so he is one of our speakers for the Young Leaders Academy. And I am so excited to get to talk with him this morning. Thank you for joining me, Darrell. How are you?
Doing fine. I'm doing fine. Nice day outside.
Look, I haven't even been outside. I'm looking out the window. It appears to be nice, but I guess we'll see. I don't know if you think that it's nice when it's hot or or what.
Right now it's nice because it's in the morning. So
Yeah,
catch me at 1 o'clock. I tell
it's
you.
quite gotten too hot, right? Well,
Yeah.
today I would like to give you an opportunity to tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what you're going to be speaking about at PurposeCon, so they can get to know you.
So, let me slightly small intro. My name is Darrell Devaul. I am a educator, entrepreneur, and and I'm sorry, excuse me. And and so I I will be speaking at PurposeCon about ideation and finance. So I taught basically finances in high school and entrepreneur at the same time. Plus, I also have a nonprofit organization called Powering You Foundation that's geared around entrepreneurs for student athletes. So that's what I will be talking about at PurposeCon.
Well, I'm excited because your background definitely lends to it gives enough information that they're going to need when they are getting ready to start their entrepreneurship journey. And the fact that you have been teaching this, that you have this knowledge, I'm glad that you are going to be sharing it with our kids, 13 to 17. So tell me a little bit more about your journey. And you said you're an educator, then you said that you also have Powering You Foundation. Tell me a little bit about that. How does that work?
My education, well, my journey started. I've been in the past. I've always been working on startups. I've worked on um, with with there's some very interesting startups from a bumper skin place where in New York City. Uh, it's kind of funny that they actually, they have a bump. They have really a lot of people in New York park their cars in the front of their houses, and so they have these bumper cars. If you ever been, and so a lot of them get scraped up. So I had it. This is probably one of the best ones I had. Where one of them where I had to help this guy rebrand and reform because he wants to be on Shark Tank. And so instead of having a little ugly bumper where you have a rubber on your bumper, he basically came up with a clear piece of tape that we basically put on the bumper. That's going to actually, it's better, it's easier to take off, and uh, and so to make it and where when they do park, they don't even when they bump it, they don't scrape the car up and everything. So that was a pretty good project. And I've dealt with mobile apps. I even dealt with a dating app project where I had to even go to Match.com. So I've dealt with a lot in the past. I've done a lot of startups and college recruiting, and so that kind of got me into more geared toward the students. It's always good to talk to students and find out what their mind is because they act like they know more than us. And so it's always good to find out, you give them an idea. What do you think of this idea? How do you can change this idea? And so that's where education comes in. I've been in education for the last 10 or 15, 10 years or so. Um, and I really, you know, wanted to find a field that I enjoy. And I had the opportunity to start teaching entrepreneurship. And so, working with these student athletes, working with these students and trying to come up with ideas to take to the next level. Um, and so my journey started a long time ago, but I would say 2015 when I lost my first wife. Um, and then, I had two kids. I had one that just graduated from college and one that was in the ninth grade going into 10th grade. And there was a lot of different things going in during that time. Just losing her, and then I'm having the point of raising my 16-year-old daughter by myself, and she was doing a lot of stuff from uh, volleyball to track, Jack and Jill. I mean, she was always busy, and you know, her mother meant a lot to her. And so, really, I came up with this new company called Powering You, which is where I talk about the foundation. And it's about inspiration, empowerment. Um, One of the things that really inspired me to come up with this is when she actually lost her mother. She wanted to wrestle, and I didn't want her to wrestle. I was like, this is my little girl. I don't want her to wrestle. And so this girl decided to she her mother, this is before her mother passed away, and then but she found a group of girls who and the coach, and they kind of formed a team. They were like family. And so she really what helped me on this journey was that when she lost her mother that summer, she gained a lot of weight, and I was there for her. And as a wrestler, you have to basically weigh yourself every time. And so it was time for her to basically start competing. And one of the things she did, she was overweight. This girl lost 30 pounds in less than 30 days. Now, I told her she couldn't do it. She did it. She had a purpose. She had a mindset. She believed that she could do it. Now, her dad didn't. And and because first of all, losing that amount of pounds in that amount of days can be strenuous to your body. But she didn't, she had a purpose in mind. She had a goal, never give up. And that's my motto for my company, never give up. And she didn't give up. She showed everybody that she could do it. And she did it. In 30 days, she lost that amount. Unfortunately, she missed some of the competition, but she got to the point where when it came for regionals, she was able to compete because of she had lost the weight. That's where I formed my company, Powering You, because it's about never giving up. It's about, regardless of the situation, you have a goal in mind and you're going to do what that goal is. And I mean, unfortunately, again, you have to watch yourself because everybody else said she couldn't do it. The parents came to me and they're like, they would just, I mean, I wouldn't say dumbfounded, but they would just compliment it. We didn't think Amanda could do it, but Amanda did do it. And that's something that's where my company actually started right there. And that's how I just actually started helping these athletes out, from the professional athletes all the way down to the high school kids. Never give up. You have a dream, you have pray about it, and go out there and do it. And that's where I incorporate that in my classroom. I incorporate that within my business. And that's a little bit about myself. I do have I am remarried. I have a beautiful wife. The Lord blessed me. I will say this, you think about going down the highway, taking your son to soccer practice when he was just a little kid. And I'm going down 121. I live in Capel. And I never knew that I was going to be living in Frisco. You never know what the Lord has planned for you. You lose one person, you gain a beautiful person before. I gain another person. And, it's just so funny how I just go down 121, taking him to soccer practice, not knowing that my next life would be in Frisco. My son had an opportunity to train with Deion Sanders at his house at Frisco. I mean, in Prosper when he was there. Going down Preston, not knowing that I will be living close to that address, not knowing that. That's how the Lord is. That's how, he puts you in one, he takes away one person and gives you another person. And it's just a blessing. My daughter now, both of my kids have graduated from college. My son lives downtown, has a real good job. My daughter lives in Houston. She's a paralegal. She's graduated. So I said, I'm just blessed that's how the Lord has blessed me. and the same as my business. And that's a little bit about myself. I might have went over.
Well, I got to go back really fast because I used to live in New York. I used to live in New York City in Manhattan for about almost 2 years. And so I was thinking about
Wow.
when you're talking about the bumper cars.
Yeah.
And I actually had a car, and people couldn't understand why I was in New York with a car. And I was like, well, I came from the South,
Yeah.
because I went to New York. I graduated from FAMU. And so after I left FAMU, I moved back home. And when I was back home, Hurricane Katrina hit. And so when Hurricane Katrina hit, the company I was working for, they gave me the opportunity to go anywhere that I wanted to in the United States. And so I chose New York. And so, so as a manager for that company, I moved on up to New York, and I took my car, and I was loving it. But yes, that bumper car situation. I think I'm a great parallel parker, if I'm gonna say so myself. So I didn't have that issue trying to get out of the space. But you know what? I'm sure some people hit me, and that would have been very useful. All right, so
Yeah.
you have such a great story, and I do appreciate you sharing and being open about everything that brought you down the path of getting to where you are now. One thing I always say is that our lives are a journey, and everything that we hit along the way, I believe it's kind of shaping and molding us for what God has for us in our future, because we ultimately have a destiny and a purpose that God has given us, right? And so
Right.
sometimes we may not be working in that purpose, or we haven't met that point of our destiny just yet, but we're whatever job we're in, whatever city we're in, whatever organizations that we connect with along the way, all of those I think are parts and pieces of what leads us to the ultimate destination that he has for us here on earth. And so because I even think about my past experience. I've done so. I could tell you stories of the things that I've done as far as like jobs and things that I've been a part of. And you would say, well, that doesn't make sense. But when you look at where I am today, you can see where God's hand was on it the whole step of the way. And then you talked about you driving down 121. I know some people may not know where that is, and some people, if you're in the DFW area, you know where 121 is. But taking 121 and driving to Prosper, not realizing you're passing the city and the new life that God is preparing for you. And really, what is that God is exposing you to your next. And I think sometimes we don't realize that, right? We don't realize that I think we might, as we're doing certain things, we don't realize the exposure that God has given us. And it's always for a reason. It's always in preparation of what is ahead of us. Right? I was getting ready to say amen. Listen, so let me ask you this. So as we so in reference to PurposeCon, and as we're preparing to getting them ready to come, and I know they want, let me say young adults, not kids, but as we're preparing them to come, the young ones, the young leaders, as we're preparing them to come to this conference next week, what do you think would make them more excited about this venture? I know we have some who are entrepreneurs that already have started thinking about the businesses that they want to do or that they're interested in. I've seen 6-year-olds with business ideas, on TikTok. These kids are starting very, very young. But what are some of the things that you would advise them to prepare their mindset for something like this, for a conference, or why would you think that this would be important for them to attend?
I think more of it, I think for them to attend, I think it's more needs to be interactive. Kids today need to be interactive. We can just sit there and talk all day and they get bored. But I mean, we got to have some type of interaction, doing something for these kids. Like for me, ideation, I would say sitting down and having each one of the participants to come up with an idea, write it on brainstorm, and then we talk about that brainstorm. Finance is saying we talk about financing and how do we incorporate financing into a basically show and tell, maybe a video, something that's going to get these kids interested. And and we might do a little bit of giving away. Hey, thanks for your idea and how we can take your idea to the next level. Those are some of the, I think, examples of getting these kids. I mean, uh, interested in going. And again, it's more of the interactive. Okay, we have these interactive. These are the things we're doing, and and we're just not going to sit up here and just talk about it.
What would you say to the young person that is probably saying, "Man, this sounds like something cool. It's PurposeCon. I'm interested in entrepreneurship, but I really don't think that I can do it. My mom and dad have kind of told me, or my aunts and uncles, or whomever has told me that I just need to focus on going to school, but I really want to see if I could run a business." What would you tell that child, that young adult?
That child right there. I mean, still you can go to bed, you can go to school, but I mean, it just always gives you always got to have a backup plan, and that's what you need. I always have a backup plan, and just um, you still need. I still say go to school, but still the main thing is having a backup plan. If you got an idea, go out there and try to solve that idea. Try to, if there's a problem in the neighborhood, try to find out how can I solve that problem. Um, and and regardless of your time and everything, the bottom line is, you know, it's not going to hurt you. What are you losing? You know, I mean, if you're in school and you have the time, do it. Again, it is the bottom line. It's extra money. That's money that you can use to, buy your new car. Help your if you're not on scholarship, pay for some of your schooling. I mean, you're going to need something eventually one day. So, for the kids, I would always say, it's not going to hurt you. You're going to learn something. It might be something around what you're already doing, and you can. And again, it is a backup plan because we all need in this world. We need something to help us take it to the next level. Something that's going to, because I mean, everything is not given to you. You got to go out there and work for it.
I learned one of the things I think that's really amazing is that when we're young, it seems like God fills us with lots and lots of ideas. And one of the things I realized as an adult is that as a young person, you don't really have a whole lot of fear. Think about children. Children are pretty simple when it comes to what they want to do and what they don't want to do, right? They know it. They know what they're interested in. They know what they're not interested in. They will tell you. And I'm talking about children up to the age of 6, when like when they start speaking, or even when they can't speak yet, they know how to say, they know how to shake their head or push something
Mhm.
away, right? So they know what they're interested in and what they're not. And when we are really young, it's like we allow ourselves to daydream, and we allow ourselves to think about potentials and possibilities. But as we get older, when you're a young older person like me, I'm just kidding, but when you get older, it's like we have to balance that with life, and trying to live out what our day to day and bills and all the stuff that makes you be an adult. But when you're in that age group of 13 to 17, you're still in school, you still have the opportunity to kind of seek out what is it that really interests me. And if there's something that interests you, what can you do with it? If you have a talent, you can use that talent sometimes to as a business to make money. Sometimes and this is also a good opportunity to see where you fit, because you have some people who are really, really passionate about, let's say, music, for instance. I know it's a big one, but let's say you're really passionate about music, but being passionate about music doesn't mean that you have to start a music business. You could just do music, or you could start a music business. It depends on where your interest lies. And it's really good to get out there and kind of explore. We know that student athletes, when they start going beyond high school, and they're still in athletics, that becomes a business, because they have to negotiate sponsorships and contracts and all of those things, different deals. So there's a business aspect to that. Like every part of our lives, there's something that causes you to have to be some type of leader, some type of uh, business leader in a sense. And so really what PurposeCon is doing is we're marrying we're marrying our faith with our business. I know we have like the Christian Athletes Association, and you have all these different organizations that are throughout the United States and the world, but PurposeCon just really focuses on the idea that we believe in God. This is our foundation, and we know that whatever God has given us to do, that He gave it to us to do it for the kingdom of God. And so, what does that mean? Proverbs 19:21 says that many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the Lord's purposes that prevail. So it's only what God purposes that will prevail. And if we talk about kingdom entrepreneurship, we're talking about people who, when you are a Christian, when you are a child of God, you are part of the kingdom. It's a big family of believers. And so when you're part of the kingdom and you want to be an entrepreneur, and God, I believe God has placed that desire in you, but He also gives you a responsibility. We know to whom much is given, much is required. And so that responsibility as a kingdom entrepreneur and a Christian business leader, those responsibilities involve also fulfilling God's purposes within this earth. So God gave you those ideas, He gave you the creativity, He gave you everything so that you can use it for His glory and for the kingdom. I know some people, think differently, but I'm out here, with that idea. I want people to understand the concept that no, business is not separate from faith. It does not have to be separate, because faith is what got us here. All right, Darrell, we are at the end of time. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to make an appeal to our students. Let them know who needs to be here and why they need to come to PurposeCon. And I'm going to put the link up for them as well.
So I'm going to PurposeCon, and I'm going to be a speaker at PurposeCon. And I want you to be at PurposeCon. You're going to get a 4-day, 2 days of incitement, encouragement, empowerment. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot at this event. You're going to hear some real good speakers that's going to speak about a lot of different topics that's going to really make a difference in your life. And I want you to be there. You're not going to forget this. And so again, sign up at www.PurposeCon.org. That's www.PurposeCon.org. You don't want to miss this event in Frisco, Texas, August the 22nd through the 24th. I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. See, that appeal made me really want to come too. I'm going to be there. I better be, right? I'm coming to PurposeCon next week. All right, guys. So you heard him. You heard the man, Darrell Devaul. He said, come to PurposeCon. Meet us in Frisco, August 22nd through the 24th. We hope to see you there. Thank you, Darrell, for joining me this morning. And we'll see you guys later.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Have a good goodbye. We'll talk to you later.
Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.